Hey, my Liptons. So, listen, I wanted to come in here. I was not expecting to do a video like this because usually, I keep it at the very surface level politics stuff. But I wanted to discuss this because I saw this was going viral on Twitter, aka X. But I saw this headline from the New York Times. They did a whole, I can't believe this. They did a whole article about, the younger generation, Gen Z. I would say even some millennials too are not having children. We don't want to, people are not popping out babies. Like, we're just at this point in our lives where it's like we're now affecting our grandparents and our parents. Our parents will never have their grandchildren. Our grandparents will never have great grandchildren. So it's like, they're basically, I guess you can also say, like, they're trying to shame, like, the youth. They're trying to shame millennials, whatever, Gen Z, like, that we're now popping out babies. Before I get into like the nitty gritty of it all, let me just say this. I've always thought about this. I find it very, very interesting that, like, I would say going back like early mid 2000s, right? I remember there was this whole phenomenon about, oh my God, teenage pregnancy. Oh my God, these girls, they're so fast now. They're getting pregnant at 15. They're getting pregnant at 16. They're getting pregnant at 14. Hell, there was a whole show, what's it called? Teen Mom? A whole show, 16 and pregnant. I remember all those shows highlighting all this stuff. Talk about, oh my God, the dangers of teenage pregnancy, the STDs. Y'all done made a hysteria about teenage pregnancies and how people keep popping out babies and all these extra. I remember there was even a situation. I remember there was one time too. I think, what was it? What was his name? Prince William went to, like, I think some African country, and was just like, oh, y'all need to stop having babies. Y'all making too much baby. So it's like, this was like back in the early mid 2000s, right? So it's like, okay, so now the fact that those young people, first of all, 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds shouldn't be having children, but, like, let's say, for argument's sake, okay, whatever. Now that the teenage pregnancy rate has gone down, now that young people are now being cautious, and also being conscious enough to be like, listen, like, we need to be making better decisions. Like, we don't need to be having children while we're still in school. We don't need to be having children while we're still children, while our brains are not developed, while our prefrontal cortexes are not developed. We don't need to be having children while we're still in high school, middle school. And if we are going to have sex, we need to be using protection, condoms, birth control, whatever. Or some people might be abstinent. Like, all those things are at play. So it's like, now those people are using that have that kind of mindset. You fast forward, I was at this point, it's been like the last 3 to 5 years. I've noticed a shift now. This, like, I would say the past 3 to 5 years that I've been conscious of, where it's like, oh, people are no longer having babies. People are no longer getting married. Why nobody wants to have children? Why nobody wants to be building families? Why nobody wants to be doing this or that or that? And it's just like, hold on, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Aren't y'all the same ones that said that we were fast? Aren't y'all the same ones that said that we need to stop opening our legs and stop popping out babies and stop doing all? So it's like, now that we do it, now that we're actually following directions and following orders and actually being self-aware, and awareness about sex and about a lot of times the consequences of that, for good or for bad, now is also a problem. It's like, you can't win for losing. Now, let me just go back to this article. First of all, and someone wrote this tweet. Shout out to this person. They said, because it's so relatable. They said here, ask any woman over 25 if it's unspoken. Because, and that really seals it for me, because it's like, I'm someone too where it's like, listen, y'all know, if y'all been watching my videos, I've been hearing my videos, y'all can hear the children in the background. Y'all know I babysit. Y'all know I'm a babysitter. I love babysitting. I love the children, whatever. And it's like, I can babysit other people's children, okay? But it's like, your girl over here has no children. So it's like, And also for the fact that too, I'm over 25. So it's like, and trust me, I myself have been bombarded about when am I gonna have children, when am I gonna build a family, so forth and so forth. So it's like this kind of like thing of like, oh, unspoken grief. It's like, girl, in which household? In which, and I'm not saying that this is not a thing of like maybe other cultures, other communities where it's like it's different when it comes to like whether you ask, a man or girl, boy, whatever, if they're gonna have children. But like for the most part, it when I watch the news or what, it seems like it's very spoken. It seems like it's very, very much a spoken thing of like, oh my God, like younger people are not having children, or millennials and Gen Zs are not having children. So it's like I feel like across the board in all communities, they're very upfront, very like, hey, like when are you gonna build a family? Now, let, sorry y'all. Now, let's also discuss how the context of the past, y'all hold on, the past 3 to 5 years, right? In the context of the past 3 to 5 years, this economy, I wouldn't even say the past 3 to 5 years, because we live in a very capitalistic society. We live in a very capitalistic society, so it's like everything is privatized, nothing is really that much public, a lot of deregulations, like so much shit is going on. The job market is terrible. The minimum wage is terrible. We barely get any, if anything, not at all, any form of maternity leave. Forget about fathers having any form of paternity leave or parental leave as a whole. You know, so it's like healthcare on top of those things. So it's like we never had any public options within this, especially mostly speaking like American society, because I can only speak for, I can't really speak for other countries. So it's like we don't have any of those systems in place, right? And especially now looking back now, the past 5, maybe a good 10 years even, like the economy has been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right? The housing market is the shits. It's terrible. Nobody can buy a house anymore. Rent is sky high. It's awful. The landlords are awful to their tenants. The cost of living, like food, like inflation is horrible. So, me as an individual, I'm like, okay, I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford to buy, I can't afford my rent. I can't afford my groceries. Hell, I can only feed only one mouth, really. I can't afford none of these things. Why would I then consciously go and bring another life into this world? That child, I will have to put that child above me at the end of the day, because children always come first, point me a period. So it's like, if I can't afford to take care of that child, why would I have children? Here's my issue a lot of times with like, especially like these higher up people, like these people within government, or like these like whatever. It's like, I remember even not even that long ago, what was it, like a year or 2 years ago, was it? I think like the Pope came out and was like, oh, young people now want to be having dogs, but they don't want to have children. It's like, first of all, isn't the Pope and the Catholic Church when like the richest, like y'all have like y'all have all kinds of real estate. It's like, if y'all don't trickle down, maybe if y'all trickle down y'all wealth, maybe if you trickle down that wealth to the working class, to poor communities, maybe if you give reparations to the communities that you guys bulldoze over, maybe I think that those communities might end up having more children. Okay? Or maybe if y'all guys stop molesting the children. Oh God. Child, y'all don't want me to get in. I will get in. I will get into it. Okay? Y'all be wanting us to pop out kids. But y'all want to be touching our kids? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it's like, for me, it's like you have these like 1%, the richest people in the world, judging the working class about them not having kids, when it's like, well, y'all are hoarding all the wealth. How about y'all trickle down y'all wealth To whom much is given, much is expected. Help the working class, build them up to the point, give, especially with these companies, it's like, give your workers a, a living wage, a survival, like a living wage. Give them health care, give them maternity leave, give mothers, fathers a chance to spend time with their children. You know? So it's like, you have now these elites writing articles to the New York Times, to the Washington Post, whatever, talking about, so, oh, well, the working class is not having kids. Well, bitch, are y'all taking care of the working class? Are y'all taking care of poor folks? For them to be having children? It's just like, what I really think is happening is that these companies, these corporations, they want more, they need more people working. Our population is going down. But this is not just a United States issue, it's across the board, like throughout the world. Like, people are not having a lot of kids as time goes on. So they're like, that's going to become a problem. We need more people having children. But the problem is that y'all need to make people's lives easier in order for them to have children. People need to be comfortable. If we're uncomfortable professionally, personally, it seems like the walls are closing up, the sky is falling. You best believe I'm going to be looking out for myself. You best believe I'm not going to be out here just popping out kids, and I have to, like, end up putting, like, it's not just like the whole, like, oh, well, economic wise, whatever. And this doesn't get talked about a lot too, but like, there are genuinely people that don't want to have kids, and that is also okay. Like, I feel like now it's become a thing these past couple of years where it's like, oh, well, people don't want to have kids, but there are genuinely some people that don't want to have kids because they don't want to have that kind of responsibility. But that is also okay. That is okay. Not everybody needs to be a parent. Quite frankly, not a lot of people deserve to be parents. And some of the parents that we had for generations at a time, you can clearly see there's some parents, children that, like, they have no business having children. A lot of these parents resent their kids. A lot of these parents abuse their kids. A lot of these parents just don't take care of their children. And I'm also speaking from experience at that. I've had my own family members where it's like they treated their children like trash. They don't give a damn about their kids, and yet they keep popping out children. They keep popping out children. They keep popping out children. Yeah, it's all about popping out the kids, but when it comes to, like, the responsibility part, they don't want to take care of that part. They have nothing to do with it, or it's only like the woman's end of it. So it's like, I'd rather people to be more responsible, to know, like, having children is a huge responsibility, and you need to know what goes into that, instead of just like, oh, well, the higher ups or whoever society is telling me to have kids, so I need to just have kids. But it's like, were you ready? Mentally, physically, emotionally ready? The toll sometimes that can take on a woman, on a father, on a mother, father, whoever, like, the toll that can also take to, like, you need to be prepared, I feel like, for motherhood, for fatherhood. So to me, I just felt like this article was very selfish and very self-centered. It should have brought more context to the fact of, like, why people don't want to have children, or what is withholding people from having children at that. So like I said, there are people that generally, there's some people that don't want to have kids. It's like they don't want to have that responsibility. I also think too, and I also think there's majority of people where it's like they do want to have kids, or they do think, because I'm at the belief, personally for me, I'm at the belief that a good amount of women have that motherly gene within them. And I think that there are a good amount of people that want to become mothers, that want to have children. But it's like they're also looking at their situations and they're like, God damn, like, the economy is ass right now. I can barely pay my goddamn rent. I can barely pay for my groceries. There's just so much going on. I have student loans. It's like, how can I will be selfish to bring another life into this world when I know that I can't take care of that child financially or give them my full attention, emotional support. Like you need to give children attention, y'all. And to me, I just feel like shaming people in not having kids is not the solution. I think that we need to look at what's going on in our society to see why are people at just not in America but across the board, worldwide, are declining to have kids. And I think that these elites need to also look into the mirror. Like y'all are so self-centered enough and so narcissistic enough to talk about people not wanting kids, but yet y'all are hoarding all kinds of wealth. Y'all don't want to trickle down y'all wealth. You know, y'all don't want to help. Y'all don't want to give your workers unions. Y'all are over here union busting across the board. Y'all don't want to give y'all workers maternity leave, paternity leave, parental leave, health care. Y'all don't want to give them a living wage, but yet y'all expect them to be out here popping out kids so that their kids can also become your workers too. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And this is why I feel like this article is very condescending and very like, oh my that's the thing, that they use that to like emotionally blackmail. I feel like people like, oh my god, like, the families are so heartbroken about this, like they're just so shook about it, like they don't know what to do. It's like their kids don't want to have kids. It's like, and it's like, guess what, maybe during grandma or grandpa's time the economy was better. That's why they were having children at that time. Okay, but as of right now in 2024 going into 2025, the economy is not only bad, but it's gonna get worse. It's gonna went from worse to worser. And trust and believe. And really looking into this election thing, because don't get me wrong, you already know how I feel. I feel like all of this is tied to each other, society, governments, politics, whatever. Like, I just feel like all of this is tied in with each other. Everything stems, the fish rots from the head. I think that, now that, Donald Trump is the president, blah, 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 you already know how these Republicans are with their pro-life stances and stuff like that. And they feel like, oh, well, I think the birth rate is even going to go, it's going to drop still. It's going to continue to drop. I don't think that there's going to be more improvements of people having children under Trump. I actually think it's going to go, people are going to, have y'all seen the tweets on Twitter? I never laughed so much. Like, some of the tweets are crazy. They're like, oh, I'm going to stop having sex with men. I'm going to, like, they're literally trying to go full, like, 4B movement in South Korea kind of thing. So I think that, people think that, oh, well, because now we have a pro-life president in place. Well, we had a pro-life president back in 2016 too. That ain't stopped nothing. So I think that more and more people are still not, I think the pregnancy rate is going to go down. Even more so under Trump. If people think it's bad now, it's going to get even, people are going to be even more very conscious about their womb. But then again, as they should be. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that people should be conscious about who they get pregnant by at that. People should look at these celebrities. Look who I've been dragging these past couple of, weeks. Hallebailey, and now look at Sky Jackson. In her situation, her getting pregnant by who she got. It's like, I also think that women need to be very careful about who they have babies with, and like vetting. But that's across the board too. That's also men too. Men need to vet women. Women need to vet men. Point blank period. Y'all guys just can't be popping out baby just with whoever and whatever. Especially if y'all guys don't like each other. There's no love. There's no affection. There's no financial situation there. It's like, it's crazy. So I just think that, the pregnancy rate will continue to go down. People, until our society as a whole fixes a lot of the economic issues, the systemic issues within this country, people are not going to be having children. Grandparents are going to continue to be out here crying, and there's nothing really we could, like, what do y'all want us to do? People are struggling. Like, I don't know. I just felt like this article was tone deaf. But anyway, I could be wrong. Maybe there might be some pro-life. And it's not that that I'm not pro-life. It's just like I said, I want children for myself, but I'm also seeing my situation too, and it's just like, girl, I'm not about to be out here. Like, if I don't feel secure, like within myself to have kids, I'm not about to be out here popping out kids. Like, that's crazy. But I might have some people that might disagree with me on this stance. Y'all guys tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys disagree with me or not? And make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get up to 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there. Thank y'all so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.